As you could probably tell from last night's game, the Red Sox made a move. The question is it the right one? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. No, Corbin, the right move would have been to call up Roman Anthony. Yeah, I agree, right? Roman Anthony needs to be up on this Red Sox team, but that's an entirely different conversation. I know you guys wanted to comment that, so no, the right move right now for a 10-day IL stint is not to call up Roman Anthony, but we're going to talk about that in a second. We're also going to be talking about the move itself. The player was called up and why a lot of people are questioning whether or not it was the right move. And in order to do that, we actually have to start by talking about the move itself. Last night, the Red Sox announced that Romy Gonzalez was headed to the 10-day IL, retroactive to April 8th. Basically, what that means is that technically his IL stint started on April 8th, but the Red Sox announced it last night. Kind of an interesting, funky thing. If you guys don't remember, Romy Gonzalez ended up in a collision in the Rangers series, again at first base. Of course, it's first base. They really need to figure out how to stop those injuries at first base. But that's besides the point. What he was placed on the IL with is a left quad contusion. Basically, the dude's got a bruise. I have a funny feeling if this was any other situation, the Red Sox probably wouldn't have put him on the IL here. They would have kept him day-to-day. But because of the fact that Rob Refsnyder is also day-to-day right now, they're really, really short in terms of the options on the bench. So they said, look, Romy, we're going to put you on the 10-day IL, rest up a bit, get this bruise fully healthy, ready to go, and we'll put you back on the team. Now, obviously, this was an effort to get someone up here who could play in games if need be. And as you saw last night, the answer to that was for the Red Sox to call up Nick Sogard. Now, a big reason why a lot of people saw this and immediately went, I don't know if this was the right choice for the Red Sox, is because Nick, for the most part, has been struggling really heavy so far this year. He's currently hitting just 188 in AAA in 28 games. He's still getting on base, though. I guess that's the positive in terms of his just stat line right now. The stat line is 188 average, 314 on base percentage, so that on-base percentage is what? 150 points higher, 130 points, somewhere in that range. I'm not going to do the math. You guys know what I'm saying here. It's a lot better. So he's still taking his walks. Problem is he's not making enough contact, and it's not for enough power because that slug is at 248. And what this leads to is a 63 WRC plus, about 37% below league average, and that's just in AAA, right? Who knows what that's going to look like in Major League Baseball? That's not great, right? And this is coming from a Nick Sogard truther. I was a guy who at the beginning of the season was sitting there saying, hey, maybe we should start Nick Sogard on the Major League roster this year. I still think there's a legitimate spot for him on this team, but even I can admit, not exactly the most exciting call-up in the world. When a guy goes down, you bring up someone hitting sub 200 to start the season off, right? It just simply, especially with where the Red Sox offense right now, didn't sit super well with a whole bunch of people. I think anyone being called up outside of Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer at this point in time is going to leave people a little bit disappointed. I understand why, but I also think at the same point too, bringing up Roman Anthony, and specifically Roman Anthony, because I think Marcelo Meyer is a little bit of a different case right now, but specifically Roman Anthony for a guy who's going on a 10-day IL isn't something you see a lot of major league teams do, right? If you're going to call up the number one prospect in baseball, it's not going to be to cover in a utility role for 10 days. It's going to be in a permanent position. So I understand why the Red Sox did not go with Roman Anthony. I hope you guys understand that too. But the biggest reason why a lot of people sat there and said, well, wait a second, why is it Nick Sogard, is because the Red Sox currently have a guy in AAA by the name of Grissom. Now, before we get any further into this video, I just wanted to remind you guys, if you haven't checked it out already, Red Seat Radio is a brand new merch page. We got all sorts of fantastic Red Seat merch items on here, totally revamped them, all new, brand new designs. We've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies, we got hats, embroidered hats too, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm waiting on mine, but when I get it, I will be rocking it in almost every single video here. I'm super excited about them. I'm really, really proud of how these came out, and I really think you guys are going to be excited to check them out. So if you haven't already, link is in the description, comment section, or you can just head over to my channel and click on the store tab, and all of it's right there as well. Thank you all very much for taking a second and looking at that. Let's get back to the video. Vaughn Grissom is kind of in a similar role to Nick Sogard this season. He's played a whole lot around the infield. With Romy Gonzalez going down, what you really need is a backup to first base. David Hamilton can handle a lot of positions on the infield. You need someone who can back up that first base position. Vaughn Grissom has been playing a lot of first base this season. By a lot, I mean like 10-ish games, a little bit less than that, but around that time frame. And on top of that, you look at his statistics compared to Nick Sogard's, and there's something to get a little bit more excited about. He's currently hitting .260 with a .343 on base percentage and a .398 slug for a 102 OPS plus. It's not exactly knock your socks off type production, but it's still 2% above the league average. And if you compare it to Nick Sogard, you're looking at what, about 40-ish% better than what Nick Sogard has been doing at the plate right now. And that's a whole lot more production. Again, you're talking about which one's going to be better at AAA. Probably 9 times out of 10, you're taking the guy who's statistically better in every single category than the guy who just simply could play any position. So I understand a lot of people's content here with this move. I think a lot of people were sitting there and they were saying, what are we doing? Why Vaughn Grissom over Nick Sogard? How is this possible? What are the Red Sox doing? And to answer that question, we got to dig a little bit. And I say we got to dig because I actually did some digging myself yesterday because I had the same exact thought. They're both on the 40-man, so that's not one of the reasons. In my digging to figure out why the Red Sox may have gone with Nick Sogard over Vaughn Grissom, I found this tweet from Chris Hatfield, who, if you guys don't know, absolutely fantastic Red Sox personality. He's one of the main contributors on SoxProspects.com. Fantastic baseball mind. He was basically saying, look, it's mostly because right now Vaughn Grissom's kind of doing all his damage on one style of pitching and really struggling against everything else. Now, this is actually visualized really well from a graph from Red Sox Stats on Twitter. And if you take a look at it, you can kind of see exactly what he's talking about, because in this graph, basically what's going on here is Vaughn Grissom's production this year has been basically all coming from punishing sloppy fastballs. On sub 93 mile an hour fastballs, he's hitting .379 with a .692 slug. On literally everything else, whether that be higher velocity fastballs, breaking balls, or off speed pitches, which he's especially struggling against, all those numbers dip incredibly, right? We're talking hundreds of points here. We're not talking 20 or 30. We're talking hundreds of points. Now, the fastballs still look pretty solid, but the power in every single category here goes down a lot. And that's a really concerning sign, right? Because what it's indicating to us is that despite the fact that Vaughn Grissom's statistics on the back of the baseball card look a whole lot better, there's some legitimate reasoning to say, how many slot pitches are you going to get in Major League Baseball, right? How many sub 93 mile an hour fastballs are you going to get, especially in the zone against Major League pitching? Probably not a ton. Vaughn Grissom's bat has a few holes in it. There could be a bit of a facade going on here with how the statistics are looking and how he's actually performing. On top of that, recently, he's been going through it a bit. Not only has he been physically going through it a bit, he's been a bit banged up, having missed the last couple of games here because of some sort of unknown injury. He was back in the lineup last night, but the 3 games before that, he was on the sidelines. But on top of that, as of tonight, before you're watching this video and before Vaughn Grissom makes his debut again, he's just 7 for his last 50 at-bats. That has not been a productive player right now, right? And even that statistically is worse than the 188 that Nick Sogard has given you. So you sit there and you say, okay, maybe this is the reason that the Red Sox are going with Nick Sogard instead of Vaughn Grissom. But at the same time, too, it's not like Nick Sogard's even remotely close to an average baseball player right now. Literally every single one of his statistics is well below league average. He's also last in AAA for the Red Sox in barrel percentage and hard hit rate, meaning even when he is making contact right now, it's not exactly fantastic. At least Vaughn Grissom's punishing fastballs. Nick Sogard's not exactly doing that either in AAA right now. So I don't know how much of a reason it is for the Red Sox to sit there and say, well, Vaughn Grissom's been going through it a little bit. Let's bring up this guy who's also been kind of going through it a little bit, right? So what could some of the other reasons be? Well, one of the reasons, and I honestly think the main reason the Red Sox decided to go with Nick Sogard instead of Vaughn Grissom in this very specific situation is because of how versatile Nick Sogard is. We talked about it earlier in this video. Rob Refsnyder is also, he's not technically on the IL, but he's sort of in a break glass in case of emergency use right now, at least for the next couple of days. He's working through something. They didn't give an exact reason, but right now he is day to day. With Romy also going on the IL, what that did is essentially knock off two utility players, one on the infield, one in the outfield. Nick Sogard could cover both, almost every single position on the diamond, right? He could cover all the positions on the infield. I believe he's played every single position in the outfield, maybe outside of center field. The literal only position he's certainly never played is catcher. You could kind of get two utility players for the price of one in calling up Nick Sogard. Now, Vaughn Grissom has some experience in the outfield, but it's extremely limited. Do you guys remember the last time the Red Sox had a guy with a very limited outfield experience, put him in the outfield and said, have at it? Yeah, Christian Royal didn't exactly fare well out there, right? I think when you're looking at it for the Red Sox, with Rob Refsnyder down and with Romy Gonzalez down, the smartest move was to get somebody who you know can cover every single one of those positions. That way you don't have to force Rob Refsnyder to play through an injury, or that way you don't have to force a guy like Vaughn Grissom out there with very little experience. Now you've got a guy that you could plug and play. If you need a second baseman, Sogard's going to be there. First baseman, Sogard's going to be there. Right fielder, Sogard's going to be there, right? And that's sort of the reasoning, in my opinion, they decided to go with him. Now, the other one is sort of a little bit of a conspiracy reason I've seen a lot of people say, and that's that the Red Sox are kind of afraid to expose Vaughn Grissom to major league pitching in order to continue to increase his trade value, right? He's starting to put it together in AAA a bit. Despite all these shaky numbers, you're starting to see some real production from him. He's gaining a lot of experience in different places. That makes you a little bit more valuable, especially as you get towards the trade deadline. If this is the reason, I'm going to be pretty upset, mostly because this isn't really a year where you hoard your assets, right? This is a year where you're trying to put yourself in a position to win baseball games, and Vaughn Grissom can absolutely do that. If that's the reasoning over Nick Sogard, and it's not one of these other two reasons, either they see legitimate holes in Grissom's bat, or they believe that Nick Sogard is just simply the more versatile defenseman. If those aren't the two reasons, and the reason is, hey, we just don't want to lose this trade value because, hey, we might need it to get a reliever or whatever the deadline. The only way you're going to need a reliever or whatever at the deadline is if you're competitive. And right now, you're just simply a dead average team, right? You're going to start losing that competitiveness if you can't win baseball games. So I sit there with that, and that one drives me absolutely crazy. But at the end of the day, I look at this and I could see some reasoning, right? I could see some reasoning as to why the Red Sox wanted to do this. There's still a pretty decent part of me, actually, even going through all these statistics and stuff, that still says, you know, if this is maybe a more permanent thing, if Romy isn't going to be back in whatever, 7-8 days from when his IL stint is up, why not give a guy like Vaughn Grissom a chance? Is it because you think you're going to be able to make legitimate progress with Rafi over there at first base? Is it because you think Romy Gonzalez is going to be back pretty quickly and you don't want to bring Vaughn Grissom up for a short stint? Either one of those would be valid, but if it's not, you need a guy up here. And I personally, as much as I love Nick Sogard, I still think Vaughn Grissom has the higher ceiling when it comes to offensive prowess, and that's really what the Red Sox need right now. They need someone who could start helping this team score some runs on a consistent level. And despite Vaughn Grissom's struggles in AAA so far, I still think that bat is in there. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn about this one. I love both of these guys, so I still don't hate that Nick Sogard came up, but I can understand the sort of, I don't know, contempt, right, for Nick Sogard when you have Vaughn Grissom down there in AAA, which I saw a lot of people expressing online yesterday. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What do you think about this roster move? Do you like it? Do you not like it? If you were the GM, which one of these two guys would you have chosen and why? Let me know all your thoughts. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.